online classes. So today let us continue the chapter 2, that is part 3. So in today's topic let us discuss about the applications of Kirchhoff's law. So in the previous section we have discussed one of the application, that was voltage divider rule. So now let us discuss about the current divider rule. So to derive the expression for the current divider rule, so we need to consider the circuit where two or more resistors are connected in parallel. Because we know that when two resistors are connected in parallel combination, the current through each resistor is going to divide, whereas the voltage drop across the entire combination remains same. Due to this purpose, we are going to use the parallel combination of resistors to find the current divider rule. So let me consider this circuit. Here in this circuit, let R1 and R2 be the resistors, V be the applied voltage across the combination, let I be the main current, I1 be the current through resistor R1 and I2 be the current through the resistor R2. So let us start with the derivation. Here by using Ohm's law, that is the Ohm's, we are going to apply the Ohm's law to R1 and R2. So we can find or we can calculate I1 as V by R1. This is according to Ohm's law. Further, this can be written as I into RT divided by R1, because we know that V is equal to I into RT. Now let us rearrange the term, that is 1 by R1 as it is. What is RT? RT is nothing but the total resistance across the combination. So where the resistors R1 and R2 are connected in parallel, so the formula for the RT is, for the parallel combination, R1 into R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So this formula we are going to substitute in place of RT. So further we can write I1 is equal to, what is I into R2 divided by R1 plus R2. So this will be the expression for I1, that is the current through R1. Similarly, now let us find the value of I2, which is the current that flows through the resistor R2. So I2 is given by the formula V by R2 according to Ohm's law. Further, by substituting the value of V, we get I into RT divided by R2, and then by substituting the value of RT, we can write 1 by RT into R1 into R2 divided by R1 plus R2. Further, on simplification, we can write I2 is equal to I into R1 divided by R1 plus R2. This equation is obtained by rearranging the terms in the above equation. Suppose if there are n number of resistors connected across a parallel combination, we can write In is equal to I into RT whole divided by Rn. So it is clear that the current through any parallel branch is equal to the product of the total resistance of parallel branches and the main current I divided by the resistance of the branch through which the current is to be determined. Now let us go with the next topic called as open circuit and short circuit. So open circuit. A discontinuity anywhere in the circuit forms an open circuit. So in the given figure we can see that the circuit is open between the terminals A and B. Between the terminals A and B, we can observe that the circuit acts as an open circuit. So for an open circuit, the current will be 0, whereas it offers maximum or infinite amount of resistance. And the voltage drop across this open circuit will be maximum. Now let us discuss about the short circuit. So this is a circuit diagram that represents the idea of short circuit. A short in a circuit has zero resistance. So when in a short circuit, the resistance will be 0 ohms, whereas it offers maximum current. So You can observe here the current is maximum for a short circuit with the resistance across the node A and B will be 0 ohm. Therefore, the maximum current through the short circuit is given by the formula I max is equal to V by R1 according to Ohm's law. So now let us discuss the next topic called as AC principles. So in the AC principles, let us define the term called as alternating current and voltage. Alternating current and voltage. An alternating current or voltage is one whose amplitude varies periodically with respect to time and changes its polarity at regular intervals. So the AC source, some of the AC sources are generator, oscillators, function generators, etc. So in India, the electric power supplied for the domestic purpose used in that is the sinusoidal AC is at a frequency of 50 Hz with a potential difference of 230 volts. So usually we know that the alternating current is widely used compared to your direct current. So let us know some of the interesting facts. It is true that DC is much safer to work compared to your AC. Thomas Alva Edison favored direct current distribution for the domestic purpose, that is for all the household electrical devices for the safety reasons, whereas Nikola Tesla favored AC for its efficiency at long distances. The reason for AC won because it is simply impossible to transmit DC for the long distance and DC consumes maximum power compared to AC. Because of these reasons, AC is much better compared to your DC. So now let us move with the next topic called as sinusoidal alternating current. So the next topic is, let us discuss about the sinusoidal alternating current. A sinusoidal alternating current or voltage is obtained when a coil of wire is rotated at a constant rate in a uniform magnetic field. Usually the AC generator uses a principle called as electromagnetic induction. So let us consider how the sinusoidal AC is generated through this diagram or the figure. So when a coil rotates in a uniform magnetic field, it is going to cut the lines of magnetic flux. According to Faraday's law, voltage is induced across the terminal of the coil. So the magnitude of the induced voltage keeps changing continuously and also the polarity keeps alternating with respect to time. Therefore, it is called alternating voltage. So, you can see the figure that shows a rectangular coil rotating in a magnetic field from 0 to maximum. If the coil rotates further, the induced voltage starts decreasing and becomes 0. At an angle of rotation, that is angle of rotation is given by theta is equal to 180 degree. Theta is equal to 180 degree. So at this stage the coil has rotated through half the circle. So this is half cycle of revolution and called as alternation. So as the coil rotates from 180 degree to 360 degree, the induced voltage undergoes similar changes in magnitude but in the opposite direction. So the AC generator produces sinusoidal voltage and current. The shape of the AC waveform is shown in the figure B. You can see the shape of the AC waveform here. So when the coil rotates with a uniform or angular with a speed of omega, then in a small interval of time t, then the coil turns through an angle theta, where theta is given by the formula omega into t. where omega is the angular frequency. Further, this omega is given by the formula omega is equal to 2 pi f, and f is the frequency. We call f as a frequency. Therefore, the instantaneous value of the alternating voltage at any instant of time is represented by the equation. So let me write the equation here. Vi equals Vm sin theta, or this above equation can be also written as Vi is equal to Vm sin omega t. So this is the expression for the instantaneous voltage of an AC waveform. Here Vi is the instantaneous voltage, Vm is the maximum voltage, omega is the angular frequency. So now let us study some of the common terms that are used to study the AC. So the first one is cycle. One complete set of positive and negative values of an alternating current or voltage is known as cycle. The second one is time period, denoted by the symbol capital T. So it is the time taken to complete one AC cycle is called as the time period. So it is we can also define it as the reciprocal of frequency is called as the time period. So the next term is frequency, denoted by the symbol F. It is the number of AC cycles completed in 1 second. So the SI unit of frequency is hertz. So according to the definition, frequency is given by the formula F is equal to number of cycles divided by the time period, that is 1 second. Further, F is equal to 1 by T. So the next one is maximum value, or we call it as a peak value, denoted by Vm or Im. So it is the maximum amplitude of voltage or current attained by the AC waveform in 1/2 cycles is called as maximum value. So let me draw the waveform that represents the maximum value. So here this is called as the maximum value, or it is also called as this height we call it as the maximum value or amplitude. So the next one is peak to peak value, denoted by VPP. So it is defined as the maximum voltage or current attained in both the positive and negative half cycles. We call it as a peak to peak value. So here this is nothing but the waveform that represents the peak to peak value, VPP. So peak to peak value is given by the formula. It is nothing but twice the maximum value or twice the amplitude. So the next term is RMS value. The RMS value is also called as root mean square value, steady value, or the effective value. So RMS value is nothing but it is one of the way of expressing the AC quantity of voltage or current in terms of functionally equivalent to DC. The RMS value of an AC is nothing but the equivalent steady DC values, which gives the same heating effect at the same rate in the given resistor. So the RMS value for the current is given by the equation IRMS is equal to Im divided by root 2. Similarly, VRMS is given by the formula Vm divided by root 2. So this was about the RMS value, where Im is nothing but the maximum current and Vm is the maximum voltage. So the next one is average value. It is also called as mean value. or mean value is nothing but this is the arithmetic average of all the instantaneous values of AC. The average value of an voltage or current is 0 over one complete cycle. So the average value of AC is measured either positive half cycle or the negative half cycle. Therefore, the average value for one half cycle of a sine wave is 2 by pi of the peak value. Therefore, the average value of the current is given by the formula I average is equal to 2Im by pi, where Im is the maximum current. Similarly, the average value for the voltage is given by V average is equal to 2 Vm by pi, where Vm is the maximum voltage. So in this equation, Im is nothing but the maximum current. The value of pi represents the average value of current or either the voltage for one complete cycle, that is 0 to pi. This 0 to pi represents the one complete cycle. So that is nothing but we have taken the value of pi in this equation, that is I average as well as for the V average. So now let us move with the next topic, that is non-sinusoidal AC waveforms. So far we have discussed about the sinusoidal AC waveform. So sinusoidal AC waveform is nothing but the waveform that is in a sine nature. So we call it as a sinusoidal AC waveform. So non-sinusoidal AC waveform. Other non-sinusoidal alternating current is used for applications such as scanning circuits, your digital circuits, pulse circuits and so on. So any waveform that is not a sine or cosine wave, we call it as a non-sinusoidal AC waveforms. So in general, the alternating current can have any waveforms. For example, some of the examples for your non-sinusoidal alternating current are the square wave, triangular wave, then sawtooth wave. So these are the few examples for your non-sinusoidal AC waveforms. So what is a square wave? A square wave has one time equal up to one time of time. So we call it as a square wave. So let me draw the waveform for the square wave. So this figure of this waveform represents the square wave. So the next one is the triangular wave. A triangular wave has linearly increasing and linearly decreasing function. So let me draw the waveform for the triangular wave. So this is nothing but the triangular wave. So the last one is the sawtooth wave. A sawtooth wave has linearly increasing and suddenly decreasing function. So let me draw the sawtooth wave. So this is nothing but the sawtooth wave. So in the today's class we have discussed about that is in the third part we have discussed one of the applications of the that is the Kirchhoff's law. Then we switched on to the few discussions about the sinusoidal waves and non-sinusoidal waves and how the AC wave is going to be generated, and also we discussed about the common terms that we are going to use in the AC waveforms.